In lecture series on Introduction to Radar Systems, today's content is radar system losses. Well, the losses in the radar system reduces the signal to noise ratio at the receiver output. For any receiver, the receiver to noise ratio should be maximized, but this losses actually reduces the signal to noise ratio. So our objective is to determine the different type of losses so that we can take either preventive actions or we can put we can estimate the amount of those losses and put those losses in our mathematical analysis to get the realistic value. So this is the objective. Now loss may be of two types. One is the predictable with certain precision beforehand, and another is the unpredictable type, like the antenna beam shape loss, collapsing loss, and losses in the microwave plumbing. All these type of losses are the example of the losses which are predictable if the system configuration is known. That means we can have some value of those losses, corresponding value of those losses. These losses are real and cannot be ignored. But there are certain losses not readily subject to calculation and which are less predictable, include those due to field degradation, like from laboratory environment. When we go to the actual field, there will be some degradation, and exactly what should be the degradation, that is very difficult for us to uh, know in the laboratory environment. Or operator fatigueness, this is another kind of loss, or lack of operator motivation. So these type of loss actually it is very difficult to estimate. So they are subject to considerable variation and uncertainties. Now consider different type of losses. We will try to understand different type of losses in separate ways. So most of the time we will try to concentrate on the certain type of losses, that is those are predictable in nature. So first start with the microwave plumbing losses. Now as you know, what is the meaning of plumbing loss? It is a kind of leakage type of thing, but in microwave plumbing loss it is more than that of a leakage, simple leakage, but still it is called the plumbing loss. Now this is the loss in the transmission lines which connects the transmitter output to the antenna, like cables and waveguides. Because here in this after the transmission, before the transmission from the transmitter to antenna, this particular path should contain very high power. So for any system having smallest amount of loss will produce excessive amount of leakage in that particular path. So we have to take care of this particular loss only. At the lower radar frequency, the transmission line introduces little loss unless its length is exceptionally long. But at higher radar frequencies, loss or attenuation will not be small and has to be taken into account. So under this microwave plumbing loss, we have several kind of loss. That means different type of connector, different type of portion of the system will produce losses. So let us try to understand one by one. First, consider the connector loss. In addition to the losses in the transmission line, additional losses occur at each of the connection or bend in the line and at the antenna rotary joint if used. Well, antenna rotary joints are used when the antenna has to rotate in 360 degree in a horizontal plane, and generally the signal used to come from lower part, it will come from the lower portion, and antenna will be somewhere here. So if antenna rotates, its feet should also rotate with the same speed. So to make this whole thing possible, we have to use this type of rotary joint. So upper portion, this one will rotate in 360, can rotate in 360 degree, keeping the lower part stationary. So this type of joints are called the rotary joints. Now connector losses are usually small, but if the connection is poorly made, it can contribute significant attenuation. If the same transmission line is used for both receiving and transmission, the loss to be inserted in the radar equation is twice the one-way loss. It's quite obvious. Next is the duplexer loss. Duplexer is present right here. So actually it isolates transmitter and receiver. So signal from transmitter, duplexer will pass this signal, transmitter signal, to the antenna, and the received signal intercepted by antenna will go to the receiver. That is the job of the duplexer. The signal suffers attenuation as it passes through the duplexer. Generally, the greater the isolation required from the duplexer on transmission, the larger will be the insertion loss. Now, insertion loss means the loss introduced when the component is inserted into the transmission line. Now, if you jot down typical plumbing losses for in S-band radar, this is just an example. For 100 feet of waveguide, 1 dB of loss is there, two-way loss. Poor connection will produce of the order of 0.5 dB loss. Rotary joint may produce 0.4 dB loss. Duplexer loss may be of the order of 1.5 dB. So total plumbing loss will be 3.4 dB nearly. Now 3 dB loss means almost half, right? Almost half of the power will be lost. Now come to the antenna losses. So antenna losses are associated with the antenna part of the radar system. So in antenna we can have beam shape loss. Generally antenna beam main lobe is of interest. So antenna beam, we have already discussed the beam shape in connection with antenna. So we have seen that the beam shape is not exactly constant. It is not like horizontal line. So it will be like this one. Generally, directive antenna pattern is like this. So if we consider the target is right here, and antenna beam is rotating, you say from left to right. So first the target, the pulse will come from this point because the antenna is rotating from left to right. Then the next pulse will come from this portion, next pulse will come from this portion, and obviously since the power is lower in this portion of the antenna beam, so obviously the amount of power received by the antenna, that is amount of power received by the target and radiated by the target and intercepted by antenna, will be different, and this is because of this change in shape of the beam, because of this nature of the beam. This is what we call the beam shape loss. The antenna gain that appears in the radar equation was assumed to be a constant equal to the maximum value. In reality, the train of pulses returned from target with scanning radar is modulated in amplitude by shape of the antenna beam. To properly take into account the pulse train modulation caused by the beam shape, the computations of the probability of detection, we have already discussed these things earlier, would have to be performed assuming the modulated train of pulses rather than constant amplitude pulses. But since this computation is difficult, a beam shape loss is added to the radar equation and a maximum gain is employed in the radar equation rather than a gain with changes pulse to pulse. So this is what is done to compensate for the beam shape loss. So under this antenna losses umbrella, now we have scanning loss. When the antenna scans rapidly enough, the gain on transmit is not the same as the gain on receive. An additional loss has to be computed called the scanning loss. The technique for computing scanning loss is similar in principles to that for computing beam shape loss. Scanning loss is important for rapid scan antennas or for very long range radars such as those designed to view extraterrestrial objects. So this picture is also rapid scan radar. For the rapid scan radar used for storm chasers. Next is the radome loss. Radome actually holds the antenna and it produces some protective cover around the antenna. So loss introduced by radome depends on the type and the radar frequency, but it may introduce it to a loss of more than 1 dB. So this is the radome of an antenna. There are certain other losses like collapsing loss. If the radar were to integrate additional noise samples along with the wanted signal to noise pulses, the added noise results in degradation, which is called the collapsing loss. For non-ideal equipment, loss is there. The transmitter power in the radar equation was assumed to be the specified output power. All transmitting tubes are not uniform in quality, and even any individual tube performance will not be same throughout its usual life. So after 1 year or 2 years of operation, because of aging effect, the performance of those tubes may degrade, and that will obviously change the overall signal to noise ratio. The power is not uniform over the operating band of frequencies. So if you change the band, the amount of loss will vary, something like that. Thus, for one reason or another, the transmitted power may be other than the design value. To allow for this variation, a loss factor of about 2 dB is introduced. Next, we will consider some unpredictable type of losses like operator loss. See, an alert, motivated and well-trained operator performs as described by theory. When distracted, tired or overloaded or not properly trained, operator performance will decrease this. So the resulting loss in system performance is called the operator loss. So it is very difficult to predict actually. Now the field degradation. When a radar system is operated under laboratory conditions by engineering personnel and experienced technicians, the above mentioned losses give a realistic description of the performance of the radar. That we have already discussed those losses. When the radar is operated under field condition, the performance usually deteriorates even more than that can be accounted for by the above those losses that we have already discussed. To minimize field degradation, radar should be designed with built-in automatic performance monitoring equipment. So there will be some kind of feedback arrangement so that it can take some necessary measures to compensate those field degradation. careful observations of performance monitoring instruments and timely preventive maintenance would minimize this type of field degradation. So let us stop here and move to the next part. Thank you.